Hello and welcome to Business Link. I'm Jason Ball, President and CEO of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. I'm here in the AOI Podcast Studio at the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce offices and excited for another fun conversation. Before we jump into that, I want to encourage everybody, if you're seeing this, go to lcoc.com and check out our newsroom tab. That's where you can see the backlog of all the episodes of Business Link here at the AOI Podcast Studio. And, even just this year, we've done episodes with Black Hills Energy or Educare or Kawasaki celebrating their 50th anniversary here. We've got a whole series on workforce and tourism and much, much more. So if you're interested in learning more about the stories that are going on in Lincoln, check out, again, lcoc.com on the newsroom tab and Business Link, and you'll be able to get our whole back history. And now to that illustrious list of businesses and organizations and people that are making a difference in Lincoln. I'm very honored to have our guest, Tony Goins from Fiserv. Tony, welcome to the AOI Podcast Studio.
Well, Jason, it's an honor to be here. And when you called and reached out, I was very excited to have an opportunity to come hang out and spend time with you. That's for sure.
Well, this has been a conversation I've been looking forward to. Because we get to talk about a company that is very, very well known to the chamber, very, very well known, not just in Nebraska or even in the Lincoln Omaha region.
Sure.
Globally.
Fiserv
is a global organization.
Yes, we are.
Tell us about Fiserv for folks that may not have come across it.
Yeah.
before.
So we're the largest fintech company in the world, over 44,000 employees. We have a market cap of about $113 billion. We're headquartered out of Milwaukee. However, the majority, a good number of our executives are down on Wall Street. Our stock price right now is north of $210, and we're doing well. I mean, we move money.
Yeah.
We move money, and money never sleeps. And it's amazing when you really think about the roots of Fiserv and the roots of First Data, which is the two companies combined make up what you see right now, Fiserv.
Yeah.
It's a Nebraska-born company. Both of them are. First Data really started in Omaha with 5 bankers, Mike and Annie being one of them. And then Fiserv the majority of Fiserv is the old ITI with Don Dillon and his partner that started that company. And who knew that from those two companies coming together, you'd have the largest fintech company in the world that has basically two verticals, a merchant vertical side as well as a banking platform side of the business. And the strategic intersection between the two really give us a great market presence and a global presence that allows us to take great care of our clients and customers.
Now, I'm fascinated by everything Fiserv does, but in particular, the credit cards that everybody runs around in their wallet with.
That's right.
Fiserv processes like a massive piece of the global industry every time someone does a transaction or swipes their card, right?
Yeah. At the peak, you're talking about 25,000 transactions per second.
Wow.
Per second.
Yeah.
We touch almost every household in the United States. You mentioned the credit card.
Yeah.
We have large credit card operations in Omaha. And so we print we have the credit cards, and we print statements for various banks as well as merchant institutions. So we touch almost every household in the country, and we're in over 100 countries globally with a footprint in 50 countries across the globe.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's happening right here in our backyard.
Right here.
It's something to be so proud of.
It really is. It really is. We touch over 10,000 financial institutions and globally over 6 million merchants.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of the scale that we have and the service that we bring to our clients and our ability to be able to keep money moving, but our ability, first and foremost, to be able to take care of clients with technology that allows them to get their jobs done.
Yeah. And you do all this, well, in this region, you do all this in Lincoln and Omaha.
Yeah.
With how big are the Lincoln and Omaha teams?
Lincoln team, we have right at about 600 people in the Lincoln team, and in the Omaha area, between 3 or 4 installations, we have about 4,500 people. So outside, when we think about Fiserv globally, the Nebraska area has one of the largest congregations of employees in a state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a major presence. That's a major employer.
It
And
is.
y'all are trying to get bigger right now too. There's been some growth in the company to service a growing market, if I'm understanding that
Yeah,
correctly
yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean, if you look at overall the global economy itself,
Yeah.
there's still growth that is occurring. And every day we wake up, we're looking at how do we gain more market share? What do we do to be more competitive? How do we articulate our value proposition to our clients?
Yeah.
We've got relationship managers that are out there every day looking and hunting to grow business. And how do we double down on making sure that our clients are taken care of with really great technology, again, that allows them to service their customers in a way that exceeds the customer expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. What an exciting space to be in too. How do you think that space is going to evolve with, technologies like AI or
Yeah.
some of the automation? Like what is Fiserv looking to, or you in your specific role looking to as that technology evolves?
Yeah, well, when you think about generative AI, we are looking at all aspects of it
Mm-hmm.
to first and foremost improve productivity,
Yeah.
improve our ability to deliver quality products, and improve our service to our clients. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you grow sustainable revenue. And we're looking at all aspects of it to do those things.
Yeah.
So, we're not on the forefront. We've been using AI for many, many, many years. But when you start talking about generative AI, we continue to look at the movement in the market and apply the technology where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Apply the technology where it is relevant. You hear the term being used and you hear about all these use cases, but quite frankly, a lot of the productivity gains that these use cases forecasted have not materialized. So we take a prudent approach to the market in terms of where we use generative AI, where we look at our ability to be able to take better care of our customers, and the forecast that we put in place from a productivity standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. What an exciting space. Well, another question about your teams, and we've had some of this conversation. Fiserv has done some creative things with like employee resource groups.
We have,
Other commonalities about your different sectors of your teams. Tell us more about that.
Well, Jason, at the beginning of the day, it's about leadership and culture.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about leadership and culture. So that's what we strive to do.
Yeah.
These employee resource groups are designed to help us cultivate a culture where the diversity in the organization is synonymous with talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is the value proposition of Fiserv to say that you can come here and we have a system that says that you got to operate in the system. Like we're not a work from home company.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You come to the office, you
Yeah.
come to work for Fiserv.
Yeah.
Because we believe that culture and the camaraderie and the ability to be able to have a conversation with your teammate and learn and grow is really important. But on the other side, the employee resource groups allows you to have an identity that is a part of something that you really care about.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I'm in the Veterans Employee Resource Group. Today is Veterans Day. And we had an opportunity to participate in the Lincoln Veterans Day Parade.
Yeah.
We have veterans resource groups that have participated in parades and veterans events across the entire globe.
Yeah.
And our company supports that. And it's great to work for a company that allows you to have that level of individuality in terms of what you care about while still being a part of a greater team that is really highly motivated towards delivering for our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been such a fun space to partner with companies like Fiserv and others as we, target in on things that we're doing for say the Latino and Hispanic business ownership community.
That's right.
Young professionals, which we've done for a long time,
That's
women in
right.
business. We're not leading that. We're responding to the needs of our members and businesses like
That's right.
Fiserv. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
That's fun stuff.
And we really appreciate our partnership with the Lincoln Chamber.
Yeah.
Jason, we continue to grow our relationship. We want to make sure that our partnership with the Chamber is relevant in terms of our service to the community. And at every town hall meeting, I tell the team we're gonna paint Lincoln orange.
I love
paint
this.
Lincoln Fiserv orange.
I love
We want
this.
everybody to know
Yeah.
that campus over at 14th and Old Cheney, we're taking care of clients and we're really doing things to support this community and do so in a way that is relevant and meaningful.
Yeah.
meaningful to our citizens here in Lincoln and Omaha.
And shaping our community in the process. I think that's one of the fun stories that, started out so many years ago with ITI and has grown under Fiserv's leadership.
That's right.
It's kind of fun to think about what might be around the next 10, 20, 30 years down the road. In terms of that story. I want to change gears just for a second.
Sure.
You're a transplant to Nebraska.
I am.
And we've got to have several conversations about, I think maybe since you have come to Nebraska and see it through maybe a different lens than people like me that grew up in the state.
Sure.
I think it gives you unique insight to Nebraska's economy and Lincoln. Give us maybe just a little bit more about how having an outsider's perspective coming here has shaped your perspective now that you're a true local and a true advocate for the whole state.
I'll tell you, Jason, Nebraska was never on my radar.
Yeah.
First and foremost. I received a call back in early 2014 about a job at Cabela's, the bank, the world's foremost bank, which was at one point headquartered here in Lincoln. And I remember listening to the recruiter and saying, I don't know about this Nebraska thing. And the recruiter said, listen, you just go check it out. You don't have to take the job, but there's something special happening in Nebraska that I think would be very appealing to you.
Yeah.
And so I did. I told my wife at the time, Kim, that, I said, well, full transparency, I said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to take the job. I'm just going to check it out. And I remember getting here, and after 3 days, I called her and said, I don't know what it is, but there's really something special about Nebraska. And so we called our pastor, we prayed about it, and Nebraska became home. I accepted the job, and this is probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
Well, this community has been so lucky to pick up both of you. It's been a fun, process to get to know you as I've returned to the state. Haven't been gone when you got here.
Yeah.
But you and Kim have certainly made your mark. I wanted to plug, if I can.
Yeah.
I think many people in various waiting rooms and offices will recognize this copy of There's Something in the Water.
Something in the Water.
Tell me what led you to write the book, and again, for people that haven't run across it, what's the book about?
Yeah. So I think the amazing thing about Lincoln and the entire state are the number of humble entrepreneurs that have created great influence, global influence, national influence. And so as I got here, my dear friend Jay Wilkerson, and then I have to mention Brad Carell and Tim Clare, because they really got me introduced to the community. They did a reception for me.
Yeah.
And you had all of these CEOs that showed up at this reception. And they all introduced themselves. I'm Mike Dunlap. I'm with Nelnet. God rest her soul. I'm Joanne Martin. I'm with Emeritus. None of them, the thing that I noticed, not one of them said their title. Then none of them, Jim Abel, they never said I'm the owner or the CEO. Now, in other places where I've lived, the title is something that they carry as this badge of honor. They use it in the course of a conversation to validate themselves. That didn't happen. And I remember saying, man, these are just some incredible people. I said, out of a town of 300,000 people, how do you have these phenomenal entrepreneurs, Clay Smith and, Robert Duncan and Mike Dunlap, Joey Hausman? How do you have these types of entrepreneurs in a town of 300,000 people? And I remember I kept saying, I would say to Jay every time I would meet Jay, CJ, I said, Jay, you got to understand, this is not normal. There's something in the water here. There's something different going on here in Lincoln. And I said, has anyone ever captured these stories? He says, no, it's just Lincoln, Tony, is what we do. Then I met Bill Kubley, Landscapes Unlimited. I said, Jay, what I'm telling you is this is not normal. I said, Jay, somebody needs to capture these stories, And he called me one day. He says, Tony, meet me at the Lincoln Country Club. I get to the country club. He reaches in his briefcase and he pulls out this book cover and he slides it over to me. On the book cover, it says Something in the Water, the story of Lincoln's founders and builders by Anthony Goins. I said, Jay, what are we doing here, man? Why is my name on the front of a book cover? He said, because you're going to tell the stories.
Is that this image then?
Yeah.
So you started the book with the cover.
With the cover.
I love that.
Jay Wilkerson.
I love that.
Firespring. Him and his wife, Tanya
Yeah.
Starr. And I said, well, how are we going to do this, Jay? I said, I've never written a book. I don't know anything about this. And so anyway, we sat down, we devised with Phil Whitmarsh, who was with Red Brush at the time, still owns Red Brush. And we devised a set of 20 questions. And then we just reached out to all of our friends, the participants in the book, and asked them would they participate in the project. I made it clear this wasn't for profit for me, that all of the funding would go to a nonprofit organization, Just Do Business, or various nonprofits. And so we reached out, and everybody we reached out to basically said yes. Yeah. And so over the course of 3 years, just an amazing 3-year period, I had a chance to sit in the offices and the workplaces of these amazing leaders, put mics on, very similar to this, lapel mics, and I had an iPad, and we recorded it, and I asked them the 20 questions. And I think the great thing about a lot of the interviews was I wanted to understand your challenging moments, like what happened during times that went bad, because most people right now see all of the success. And they, just gaga over the success. But every person in that book had a turning point when things weren't going well, and they had to dig deep and say, what do I do to make this work? Mike Dunlap had that period, and his story is in the book, and Joy Hausman had that period, and Robert Duncan had that period with Duncan Aviation, and it was just amazing to hear the stories of how they were able to pivot and still come out of it real strong, and even better. So at the end of 3 years, I asked Pete Ricketts, who was the governor at the time, to write the foreword, and my dear friend Tim Clare, he wrote the backwards to the book. And we had a great book signing at the Lincoln Country Club, and all of the participants showed up. Alice Dittman, God rest her soul, she was there. It was great spending time with Alice, because I asked her, did she want her son John to be a part of the interview? She says, well, John is cool, but I know my story. Oh, Alice was something else, boy. She was something else. She said, I know my story. I can tell the story. And so we sat down in one of the Cornhusker Bank branches and spent that time with Alice Dittman, Mark LeBaron. Oh, man, it's phenomenal, spending time with him, and Tom Smith, and going through his story in terms of Smith Haynes and how he helped sell the company to D.A. Davison. I mean, right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Amazing deals, man.
As I look through this book, it's such a love letter to that business community. Right. I mean, it just by virtue of listening and asking these insightful questions, and telling the story and capturing that, it really turns into a reminder of how special this place is.
Absolutely.
Which I think sometimes it's easy to fall into the habit of taking for granted.
It is.
Maybe looking elsewhere and saying, well, this community has this and that and the other. Lincoln's got something real amazing here. And I think that's what this book is a good reminder of. So there's Something in the Water by Anthony Goins. Check it out. The book that started with the cover. I love that.
Started with the cover. That's right. That's right.
And it's amazing from end to end.
Now, I will say that I was so inspired by these entrepreneurs that my partner, Austin Hillis, and I decided to open the Capitol Cigar Lounge.
Oh, yes.
That was a real inspiration that came from this book, because, and for us, it wasn't about cigars and alcohol, but it was about how do we create a space where people can come and congregate and, oh, by the way, enjoy a nice cigar or enjoy a nice cocktail, but bring entrepreneurs together, create a space for innovation, create a space where people could really spend time together, because you can't enjoy a cigar fast. It's impossible to do. And
That's right.
What we've said is what we found over the past 6, going on 7 years that we've been open, as a part of the inspiration from the book, is that when people spend time together, they actually find out that you have more in common than you do apart. And through that commonality, you build trust, you build likability, and through trust and likability and being able to share ideas, you end up doing business together.
You know, what I've loved about Capital Cigar too is you use that place as a nice landing pad on which to build new connections and relationships.
Absolutely.
It's been so fun to get in there and see that.
Very
happen,
intentional,
too.
but that was the inspiration from something in the water.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, Tony, again, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation here
Yes,
today.
indeed.
This has been Jason Ball and Tony Goins at the AOI Podcast Studio at Business Link. And until next time, we will see you again soon.